Hello everyone, and welcome to a scrapbook process layout video that I wasn't going to record because I'm actually scrap lifting myself, and it's for a workshop that I'm doing with some ladies coming up very soon. And we are going to be using these papers here, the 2025 to 2027 in colour 6x6 designer series papers. And I'm scrap lifting a layout that I did just recently with the beautiful gallery papers because I really loved the layout and I wanted to show just how versatile a foundation page can be and look totally different with a different series of pattern papers. This pack here contains 40 sheets of 6x6 and they come in all the colour range. So last year's in colours are carried over to 2026. This year's in colours from 2025 right through to 2027, and then we have the brights, the neutrals, the regals and the subtles. And I haven't done much with this style of pattern paper in the past, but I just love the patterns that they have with these ones. So you can see they're double-sided, and I have separated some of these out already to put into packs for the ladies to work with. So one side will have a leaf pattern and one will have a floral, and the reverse will have this gorgeous ink wash type splatter paper and this gorgeous stripe as well. So I really love these, and these colours here are Secret Sea, Timid Tiger, Cloud Cover. So you can see you get the pattern here, Darling Duck. I'll just quickly flip over so you can see it repeats the pattern. I've done some sorting through this to decide which papers I think will go nicely together. And I'm going down a path today with a theme for this layout, but I'm also going to show people on the day that it can easily be adapted into a different type theme depending on what stamp images you use. And we're getting to Strawberry Slush. So you get an idea of what the patterns look like and how they work together. I really love this palette of colours, and Secret Sea and Cloud Cover to me are like a neutral type colour that will go with pretty much everything within the current range of standard colours as well. So I'm going to bring in the layout that I'm scrap lifting. So you may have already watched this one where I used just 3 sheets of 6x6 designer series paper to create a double page layout with the beautiful gallery suite. And today I am giving this a makeover. So let me just put this aside. I've already gone ahead and prepped the right page and I'm making it into a sweet little baby page. So I'm just going to put the right pages side by side and I'm going to put the left page together with you on camera. So you can see here I have kept exactly the same format with the right page, but today instead of using just 3 sheets of 6x6 paper, I've actually used 4 sheets because I wanted to bring in some stamped images and some punched circles that coordinated beautifully with the pattern paper, so you can use the pattern paper as an embellishment with your stamped and punched pieces. And it's a little bit of cheating because I don't have to colour these in. So I've used the cutest onesie here. This stamp set I absolutely love. It's been carried over from last year's annual catalogue. It's got a gorgeous little die set that you can get to go with it, and one of the cutest things about it is the little coat hanger. There's a little slit in this area of the onesie that is put in when you use the die, and it's perfect for inserting the coat hanger to that. Now I have cut these out of silver foil cardstock, and I've basically stamped the onesie, the little pocket and the little tab here for the top of it. And you can see some other stamp images that I've brought in that you might not recognize unless you've been checking out the album retreat. So I couldn't wait. I know I said I was going to wait to make the layouts until the actual album retreat that's happening in July with Stampin' Up, but I wanted to start using the stamp sets straight away. I really love these, and my plan was to use the alphabet stamp with it. So you can see that one's here. I haven't got my DVD cases yet. They're coming soon so that I can put these in proper packaging. But I was going to use this as the main title, but I've changed my mind and I have used another favourite set. So I have used a couple of images here and I will run through those as I go putting things together. So you can see the comparison here is pretty much the same. The background stamping and splattering on this one, I've used a stamp image which is from the album retreat box. box, and all of these images here are from that, apart from the little onesie here. So my left page has a very similar design to this, and I have inked all the edges here with a Secret C, so that has worked really well. And the images that you saw that I've stamped, I've used Timid Tiger, so I have used the coordinating inks to this. So I am roughly going to put this together, and then I'll adhere everything down, but I'm using the same pattern here. Now this is a very vintage type feel. I did say in my video that I was going to be using this layout for a day at the beach. So it is versatile enough, even though it has a very vintage and an artist type feel, to be used across different sort of themes for your pages and your layouts. So I am just roughly putting these in. What I'm going to do is adhere this piece down first, and then I'm going to start tucking everything together. So I'm just going to put that down, and then I'm going to bring in all these little elements that I've got to dress up my page. And I'm going to do some stamping to match the right side of the page as well with this gorgeous heart border. So give me a second and I'll be right back to do that with you. So I've got my pieces laid down, ready for me to insert everything else. And I'm going to take this one away and bring in the right page so I can see the balance and the flow going across. Now, because I brought in a fourth piece of pattern paper so I could do some embellishments, I was able to cut my title out using this alphabet die. I love the new party alphabet dies. I think they work so well with so many different techniques. So I'm just going through here working out how I'm going to line things up here. I'll bring in my other little elements. So I've got two more of these because this was all I was able to cut out with my remaining pieces of pattern paper. Now usually I like to do things in threes, so I don't really want to do two of the onesies on this side and have two on that side. So to make it look a little bit more like an odd number, which is more pleasing to the eye, I am going to, I think, bring one over here and have one up here. So you can see that tricks the eye into thinking there's an odd number of them, I think. So I've got one of these little circle punched elements here. Now this is using a brand new size in the circle punch. So we now have a 1 7/8 inch punch. I'm thinking that's going to go here. I have punched a couple of Secret C circles, and I'm thinking I'm going to tuck those just around to just bring in a little bit more of the Secret C. Actually, I might. It's a bit too much blue on blue. Maybe I will move this one up here, and then that gives a little bit of a landing space for this onesie here. And as I showed you before, these are popped up on dimensionals. Now I don't know if you can see, but under here I've got a little bit of tear tape, and that's holding my coat hanger in place so that it doesn't slide around at all. I haven't torn off the back of the tape. I've just used it to fasten this in place. I'm thinking that one there, and then I don't want to use that side. I want to use the leaf side. So I'm going to put this one here, and I know that the leaves are going in a little bit of a different direction, and I know this is not a complete circle, but I think I'm going to be able to disguise that just by moving this little onesie over a little bit over to here, and then I'm going to connect the dots sort of. So all these elements are going to be connected, and that makes it look like they have a place to live. Now I've got these stamped hearts here. So this is from the album Retreat as well. Actually, I'll just bring in these sheets rather than the actual stamp set. So you can see that's that heart there. So I've used this, and that is the row of dots. And I've also used the rainbow, which is within the Album Retreat exclusive stamp set. So that's that one here. And the word highlights fits into this rainbow perfectly. And then I've used Life is Sweet, and I've got another one here. Love this. And I'm going to be putting this in as well, just to group everything together. Now my circles and my pieces are all inked, but I'm not going to do that with my title. I'm just going to leave that as is because I've done a drop shadow on that. And if you haven't seen these before, this is the size of them. They're about 2.5 inches high, except for the Q. That's just under sort of 3 inches high, about 2 15/16, I think it's listed as. But I love them and the versatility of these. And then I was thinking about bringing in another word to just build something a little bit. So I stamped the word to using the alphabet from this month by month album retreat. And I think what I'm going to do is put that across there. So I had a little play with it with a post-it note. And now I just have to find the real thing so that I can put that on there. I know it's on my desk somewhere. Here it is. So I think I'm going to put that going across here. And I'm going to ink the edges of this just a little bit. I've still got some of the ink left on my little blending tool here. So I think I'm going to set that out like this. And I want to show you a little trick with this one. This is actually a punch as well. So this is the Keeping Tabs punch, and it punches it out in one piece like this, and then you can just fold it in half, and you can see I've got treatments on here. So basically for the hearts, I've stamped those in Timid Tiger and Secret Sea, and then I've used my blending brush just to add a little bit of ink from each of these. So that one is going to go under here. So I'm going to put some adhesive on this because the back of it is going to be adhered so that it's underneath my little photo here, because I want the bottom edge of this to go over the top of the photo holder that I've got here. And then I'm going to bring in some dimensionals, and I'm just going to put 3 of the little mini ones across here. Now I've got my dimensionals on the top section of this so that when I adhere this, I'm still able to get my photo to go underneath. And I do want this to go down just a little bit further. That's a little bit better. And I'm going to pop these up all on dimensionals as well. And then I'm going to come back and do the stamping for this. Actually, I might do the stamping before I adhere these down. So I want to put a little row of hearts coming up here and one coming down here. And that's going to be my starting point. I love that these are vertical. Quite often when we're doing borders, they are in a landscape format. But as you can see from this here, this one is in a vertical format, and I really like how that looks. And this stamps up absolutely beautifully. So before I adhere this little circle down, I'm just going to stamp this one. That looks really good, but it's a bit matchy-matchy to this side. So to get over that, I'm going to stamp another little row of these on top. So therefore it's not so much a mirror image. And then I'm going to put some on this side here. I'm going to adhere that where it is. So this is just going to go straight into here. I'm hoping my head's not in the way. And I don't know what it is about doing this stamping, but I think it's bringing this layout together beautifully. Might put another little row down this side here. So I just have them on certain edges here, and I love how that looks. And Secret Sea, all Stampin' Up! Inks really, they all stamp beautifully, but there's something about this gorgeous deep, deep blue that is going to work so well with all of these colours. So now all I need to do is just adhere these parts, do a whole lot of dimensionals on these, and then I'll be back for some finishing touches. So all I need to do now is add some dots to this, but I just want to bring these 2 month by month stamp sets back in again so that you can see where I've got the elements from. I love this gorgeous little type rainbow effect that you can stamp inside and do a little bit of shading on it rather than colouring it in with alcohol markers or blending pens or whatever it is that you want to use. And the little tabs I've treated the same way. And there is one gorgeous tiny little heart here, and that's what I've used on these tab elements here. And I've also put one on the inside of the O for this too. And these are the larger hearts. I have 2 here, 2 here, and 1 and 1, just to balance them out across the page. And I really think this layout has come together really quickly and easily. But what I'm going to bring in now are the in color flat pearls. So these are the 25, 27 flat pearls, and you probably guessed it, I'm going to use the Timid Tiger and the Secret Sea ones. I'm going to put a couple of these around, mixing up the larger ones with the smaller ones. And some I can put so that they are over the heart a little bit. And then I'm going to bring in another blue one for up here, just nestling them in and around. And you might have recalled that the leaf design on this little semicircle piece that I was able to punch was actually sort of coming down rather than going up like the pattern paper is. But you can't really notice it now that I've added all the other little elements here. So just a few little touches to finish this off. And then my layout will be done. And I think it's super sweet. I'm really glad that this cutest onesie set is still available to order for another year. I think it is just the sweetest little thing, and it's going to dress up a lot of pages, make a lot of cards, and it's perfect for newborns, toddlers, baby shower parties, Mother's Day, Father's Day, any sort of pages really. It's just the cutest little set. So I think that's all I'm going to do for that one. I'm going to call this layout done. I'm just going to bring these ones back in so you can have another little look at the difference. It's a totally different look when you swap out the pattern papers that you're using and the theme that you're creating. So I really love how this design that I have created has translated over to making a gorgeous little baby layout. Now, I did mention that if you didn't want to do this as a baby theme, you could bring in other stamp sets. So imagine this layout with these gorgeous seagulls on here that were from the recent celebration. This would give it a whole outdoors vibe and would make it look totally different when you put a stamp set like this on. If you wanted a more toddler themed or another baby type themed page, you could use the Darling Dinos in the place of where I've placed these little onesies. And same with the little cars here. If you wanted to stamp these cars, I'm not sure if these ones are still available, but you could definitely have cars on a layout like this and it would make it totally different. You would just have to tweak the titles. And of course, there's the Storybook Friends that you could use to create another baby theme type project, or also an Easter project if you wanted to. You could swap out the colours for this and make it a more Christmas theme, bring in some little Christmas stamp sets like these little animals if you wanted to make it playful, or you could substitute Christmas trees or gifts. Any type of thing will work with this type of layout. And I do have a guide for this. If you wanted to check that out, I'll leave it in the link below. It's actually for the beautiful gallery layouts that I showed you, but it's easy to substitute papers for this. The new Cheers and Sips, if you cut the papers up, you could definitely use this and create little clusters with these sorts of stamp sets as well. Same with Sweet Jar. You could substitute all of these elements here and bring in whatever pattern paper you wanted to use. It would work with this pattern paper just beautifully as well. So really, when you're looking at videos on YouTube and people putting them together, and with this layout and other layouts that I have created, substituting the actual pattern paper and working with that first and then deciding what elements you're going to bring in from what you have in your stamp collection or die cut selection, it really does change the look of a layout so much. So if you're hitting a bit of a creative slump, I think this is a great way to get back into the crafting room. And once you start cutting up those papers and stamping and doing things like this and creating another layout, I think that you'll find that you can just keep crafting and creating more gorgeous layouts and putting your photos on the pages and telling the stories. This will be where the story goes here for these photos, or if I have a little bit more to say, I could use a flip flap either here or here and add some more journaling underneath the flip flap here so that it's sort of hidden journaling with my photos on top. I did do an unboxing video the other day with the album retreat. I wanted to show the versatility of bringing these stamp sets that you're going to receive when you order the album retreat. You can bring those across so many different theme projects. I'll have a link to that unboxing video below if you want to check that out. Thank you all so much for watching, everyone. Happy crafting and bye for now.